I came in, I was like, is Rod a billionaire? Where did we go? What an upgrade. I came into the room, I'm like, is this a hacker conference or Tony Robbins? And I look in the back and I was like, I get to present in front of you guys. And to me, thank you, Rod, for inviting me. When he hit me up, I'm like, man, he's DMing me twice already. This is twice he DM'd me. I'm like, something is going on. He might have a question. And he said, hey, I want you to come in here. I want you to tear the house down and make sure you provide value. 2 weeks ago, we had a call. I said, how do I give you all the most amount of value? Is it technical? Is it what am I seeing already? In the next 2 years, what am I seeing? He said, all of the above. So I got around 50 slides we're gonna go through. I want everyone to try to participate when I ask questions, because it's important, and everybody could like turn around and look at where the room's at in terms of AI. And I appreciate you for inviting me, sir. You're growing exponentially. I remember when I knew he made it, was 2013, I walk into a room and he's sitting there with my other friends that they invited me. I said, look at him. And look at you now. So kudos to you. Thank you. And I am going to try to hit all expectations that you want from me, my friend. So let me give you a quick background. I've been in the industry for 20 years. I've worked at the NSA doing reverse engineering. Malware, I loved it because you are always 6 to 8 months ahead of everyone. You get to see all this cool data, reverse engineer it. From there, I moved over to McAfee, where we consulted with 3-letter agencies, kind of doing the same thing, but they paid way better. And then I moved from there to Intel proper, which I'll give you a story after in 2 slides about Intel and when I was there. And the cool thing about it, I had a friend. This is why it's so important to come to these conferences and mingle, because you might meet someone that will change your life, put you in a better position that you were yesterday. So I had a friend. He hit me up from McAfee. He said we were hiring at SentinelOne. I moved over to SentinelOne, and we went public. So that was an amazing feeling. From there, went to BreachQuest. They went belly up, and now I'm at Odin, where I own the Gen AI Bug Bounty program. And I absolutely love it, because what I get to focus on is only jailbreaks, LLM hacks through the prompts. No more of this traditional vulnerabilities where you got to set it up and see if it works and triage. No, we already know. We were stood up last year in July, and we kind of know already the aspect and the scope. A lot of these organizations with frontier models, your OpenAIs, as well as Claude, all they're looking at is their specific model. At Odin, we support 25 models. So if I look at a specific prompt, I can immediately let you know which models it will work on. So here's the key takeaways. I'm gonna let you guys know, and I'm gonna provide you an understanding why it is imperative, and you have to get on understanding AI from nuts to bolts, and the role AI is playing in cybersecurity, and also provide a little path for you so you can go down that aisle and give you a better understanding what you need to do, and you need to put in that work. There's no substitution for that. And then I'm going to give you some hope on why not you? Why not you be the big thing? Why not you in the back over there be the next guy that is leading? Here, thank you. Right? And then I'm going to go through Odin. I'm going to take a quick sip of this. All right. So I want everyone to raise their hands if they're using AI every single day. Good. Keep them raised. Keep them raised, because I need this participation. Who's using it in their workflows every day? Keep them up. Okay? Who is also using MCP, model context. There we go. Okay, that's what I wanted to see. MCP, everybody turn around. Look, there's only 2 people. Turn around, there's only 2 people. Right? That's what I wanted to inform you guys. Last year, I was at DEF CON. I was hosting a panel. And I asked everyone the same question. And the first question, it was like 3 hands were raised. And I was in shock. I could not believe that no one was really implementing AI into their workflows. It really shocked me, and I'm so happy to see everyone have their raised hands in terms of using it, putting it into their workflows, but now it's not enough. You have to start building. I'm not a programmer, no problem. Vibe code like a pro. So, let me give you a story when I knew that everything had changed. In 2018, I was working at Intel. I was a security researcher looking for bugs in UEFI. Everyone have heard of UEFI? The BIOS, when you turn it, that screen. My mentor was Vincent Zimmer. He has the most patents at Intel. Not only is he wrote 2 books, most patent at Intel, and he was assisting me and really mentoring me. And at that time, I had around I want to say 12 years in the game. And when I started learning this, everything was brand new. I felt like a rookie. I didn't know much. It's the Wild Wild West down there in terms of understanding reverse engineering, looking for bugs. It's like anyone start with Linux and then you start understanding what is CD and LS. That's the way I felt, and I was a seasoned vet. So imagine how I'm feeling. I'm like, this is new. But then I understood one thing. There's only 2 companies right now that are doing research on that low level. 2. They both sprung out of Intel. Eclipsium and there's another one like binary something. Not binary, binarium. Binary? You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, both of them are good friends of mine. There's only 2. So when you talk about UEFI in the BIOS, you're talking about, in terms of cybersecurity research, 1% of the 1%. So you have your top guys at 1%. And then you have this another layer that is like a handful of cybersecurity, like I would say 100, that are really good at understanding how to exploit these drivers. And the first week, ChatGPT was released. I remember December, first week of December 2023. I go into it, I start vibe coding. I'm like, man, this is like, we're playing ping pong for every subject. So I was like, let me see if this is really good. So I took a vulnerable driver, copied the whole code, gave it to it, and then asked it, can you find the vulnerability in the code that I just wrote? Within a minute, it not only gave me the answer, it told me why it was vulnerable, and it wrote an exploit for me. And right there, I knew this game has changed. Because it took me 1 year just to understand how to do all of these things of using QMU, reverse engineering, using Ghidra, and doing all these cool projects, and I still felt like a rookie. I work with people that were doing this for over 10, 15 years, messing with UEFI. And I was the newbie, and I was there for 7 years. So once I seen that, I was like, no. This is the moment. This is the moment I understood shit is about to change. And then I had the opportunity to work at Odin, so I got to see more and more things. But let me explain to you what has happened the last 6 months. So since July to now, a lot has changed. But since January to now, you have all of these models starting to compete with each other. And what I'm finding out is as one model is released, another company, organization has to follow up with something hotter, because now, as you're seeing, they're starting to hit the ceiling in terms of these models, and they're basically releasing features. There was one that was released yesterday. Sam Altman released another feature on code and modifying your code and automating it, looking for bugs and fixing your bug. I forget, it's Codex. And then they also released, I think 2 months ago, their agent operator, which I love because you can use it to hack other things. You give it instructions, you can tell it to hack on different websites, and that's a feature, not a bug. So, what I'm seeing in the next year is you're going to see more and more of these specialized, like really special, really good at certain things. Anyone hear about windsurf? What happened last week? They acquired. Yes. They're acquired for $3 billion. Why? Because they want to have better models that are going to code. Because Claude has taken the world by storm when it comes to coding. This is why vibe coding is where it's at today. And we're going to get into some stories about vibe coding and how nasty and amazing it is. Nasty as in good, right? So, you guys heard about DeepSeek, yeah? January 20th, the world changed. My 401k and my pockets hurt that day. They lost $1 trillion sort of wiped out. And the funny thing, I don't know if you guys know about DeepSeek, they're a quant company. They do financial like markets and predictions. This was a hobby for them. DeepSeek was a hobby for them. And the big thing that day and that week was I was getting interviewed by people. They were like, wow, look at this amazing thing that DeepSeek and a Chinese company, go ahead, bro, you got it. Look what they did. They innovated. They created something that no other American company did. And you know what I was saying in these interviews? If it smells like a pig and it's playing in the mud, it's not a duck. There's nothing that China, for me, has ever like developed. They steal and they replicate. That is their MO. I've been doing this for a long time. Pick up. It might be important. So when I hear about this, it's my, yes. When I hear about something like this, the first thing I think of is you stole. You look at their aircraft, you look at all of their IP. By the way, I feel like I still am, an expert when it comes to Chinese nation state actors. Like that was my passion for over 10 years. Because I just knew they throw people at the problem, they steal, and they throw more people to replicate it. You can see with their fighter planes, their ships and everything like that. They throw people at it. So what happened with DeepSeek? So my whole thing is, I'm going to investigate this. What they did was they took Llama, which we already knew. If you go and check Mark Zuckerberg's interview with Emily Chang on Bloomberg, she asked them, you release Llama, you know China's going to grab it and potentially do what DeepSeek did. And then you heard the following days, Sam Altman, as well as the CEO from Microsoft say, they stole it. They stole it from us. technically, did they really steal it? I don't know. There's a policy that says that you can't do distillation. Distillation is when you query, when you prompt something, and you get all of those responses, maybe like 10 million, which is really less than a terabyte, and then you go ahead and fine-tune Llama. And they only had certain equipment, which was H100s of NVIDIA. This was the big story. It was like, wait, they only used $4 million to compete against ChatGPT and Anthropic. Why the hell are we giving you $100 billion so you could build these data centers when you got these people creating this? That was the question. That's why the markets really tanked. That's why NVIDIA went down, I think it was 25% in a day. That's the reason why. So what does that mean for us? It means that you could play in this game as well. You have your knowledge. You can take Llama and fine-tune it. It's not very hard. It's actually easy. Very easy. So over the next year and 2 years, everybody should have their own specialized Llama. I'm going to have my Marco Llama. You're going to have Tim. You should be fine-tuning and automating everything you have in your processes. So, no more gatekeeping. See, what I realized in the last 2 years, really the last like 7 months, is that you have gatekeepers. You know how they do it? Here's this white paper, 20 pages, with fancy wording, so people don't understand. And I realized that because I had a data scientist write 4 paragraphs, and I had a colleague was like, what does this mean? I gave it to him in 2 sentences. I'm like, there's no need for this salad over here. 2 sentences. That's what's happening right now. All of these white papers, they should stop doing that and just write blogs in normal terms. You're seeing all of these terms that are popping up. That's to confuse people. At the end of the day, you have train your own model, use Llama, write down unsloth, because that's what you would train your model with, and figure out what data sets you need. Whatever data set, there's data out there. You can go to Hugging Face and find any specific data, whether it's offensive or defensive. And by the way, you could do this and set everything up within 10 minutes. 10 minutes to create your own Llama. Now, depending on the hardware, it's going to take a little, time. You need the hardware to fine-tune it. But that's the process right there. Everybody's trying to gatekeep it from people. No more of that. I'm not having it, at least. So there are signs, though, right? And this is what the FUD is about how AI is going to be taking people's jobs. Earlier this year, the CEO from Salesforce, he was like, we're not hiring. We're freezing hiring because we're going to be using AI to replace that. Zuck said the same thing. No more of this level 1, level 2, junior developers gone. Because, and 2 weeks ago, he was just speaking to the CEO of Microsoft. And he was talking about how much does AI write code for you? And what does that look like? And he said a lot. And then he said for AI, for Meta, it's a lot. So this is why the hiring is stopping. You've seen Cisco, they just laid off, I think in the last 2 years, probably like maybe, I want to say like 20,000 people. You're seeing the layoffs happen more frequently, and it's on the low. We're restructuring. And you've seen that Cisco restructured during RSA. They just stood up their own AI. They published their own LLM. You know how they did it? Now you have the tools. Simple. We're not gatekeeping this. Everybody needs to upgrade themselves. And that's, for me, why I'm here. Now, let me tell you, once you upgrade yourself, what you could do. I love cybersecurity. I don't think I'll ever leave. But if I wanted to, I could leave and go to hospitals, marketing agencies, just because I understand AI and know how to integrate AI into what an organization needs. But I love cybersecurity, so I'm staying in. But what I'm saying is, once you're around it and you start up-leveling yourself, it's done. You could move and shake. You can shake and bake like Ricky Bobby, as we say. So, the next 2 years will determine your career. This is not FUD. I'm not pushing anything. I'm telling you what I'm seeing. I use AI every single day, almost into every workflow. Any new hotness, I'm on it. How do I do that? Here's another tidbit. I use OpenAI they have scheduled tasks, which is you have to pay $200 to get this, but I don't pay it. I don't pay it, my company pays it. So what I do is I've given OpenAI everything I care about. In the mornings, I get a morning briefing, I call it. It's all the new tools for AI. It's all the hotness that I care about in cybersecurity, as well as the markets, and it gives me everything I should focus on. Now, I used to spend an hour, 2 hours going to this page, going to that page. I spend 10, 15 minutes. If I care about something, I'll do research. I'll look at specific tools that are released, and I'll bring them in, and I'll start testing them. Tools in this game are coming in and out, so you gotta refine it and make it your own. That's what I do. I make everything, I try to make everything my own. So you must become an advanced user as fast as you can. What does that look like, right? One thing I was explaining to Tim yesterday is whatever you learn, start blogging about it. Does anyone know who's Feynman, famous scientist? Einstein? Yes, there we go. And Einstein used to say this, if you can't explain it, you don't know it, right? So anything you learn, you should be talking about it, blogging about it, putting yourself out there in the forefront, because there's a lot of organizations starting to hire people that understand AI and the level of, or where cybersecurity plays a part in it. And you're gonna see some of the crazy things that you will not believe that was released. And I'm gonna show it to you, but I would say that. Integrate, take workshops. Yesterday, I did a workshop on, it was tactics, techniques, and jailbreaks. We had Tim, we had Blue Fox here. Within 4 hours, they kind of had an idea on how to jailbreak for money to submit at Odin. At the end of the course, both of them submitted jailbreaks, and they both got awarded. Two each.
Blue Fox got awarded. I'm still pending.
Yes, no, he got awarded.
I did? Let me check my email then.
Yeah,
Nice.
both of you.
So yeah, like,
So go ahead.
it's mind blowing. Like, once you start digging into this and understand what's going on, how quickly you can do that.
Yes.
It's a rabbit hole.
It's a rabbit hole, but once you understand, within 4 hours, I was impressed on where they took it, right? And even the course is potentially in 2 or 3 weeks, it's free for them, because now they have the tools to submit at Odin where we pay. This is my goal, to try to assist and provide value to everyone, and more importantly, especially on the workshops next year, we're gonna do a workshop here. But don't wait until next year, get on it. But what I'm saying, I'm gonna do the workshop, and it's gonna be even more refined to give you more tools. Because this was important to do what we did, and we started at 8 and finished at 7 p.m. We ate lunch and kind of dinner there, And it was amazing. I did not think they were going to get it so fast. So it could be I'm that good, or they're smart and creative.
I think it's the combo.
It's the combo. I would say more you guys.
Marco was in there talking, and we're like, and we get that look, and Marco's like, no, we're stopping. What? I see that look. I see that smirk. What are you guys thinking about?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, that's awesome. Put it in that, remember it, and we'll work on that this afternoon.
Exactly. And it's that communication and understanding, because it's iterating through ideas. When we first started Odin, I will tell you this. I thought we're going to need PhDs. We're going to need security researchers to really hack these things. You know what was our first, I would say, 10 submissions? Writers, musicians, creators, innovators, misfits. They weren't even in security. And I was shocked, and that made me begin to realize that it's not about cybersecurity. It's about how you think. It's about creative. If you are in a position right today that is a repetitive task, understand potentially that's going away. So how do you provide more value? How do you provide more creativity, as well as be disciplined to expand your horizon? Now, I told you about Rod. He worked at the time it was Prolexic. It was sold to Hackmiami. When he went there, a friend was the manager. He left. He was, I don't know if it was 1 year or a year and a half. He didn't have the credentials, but they made him the manager of people that were there for 3 years. Why? Because they seen the value, they seen the creativity, and you're thinking outside the box. And that's the one thing that I would tell you. Understand language and how you position your words in a prompt is going to be important, because how all of these LLMs are trained is, I hope everyone knows Transformers. I'll give you a quick tutorial on Transformers. I see 3 heads saying yes. Think of Transformers, which in 2017, when it was released, it changed everything. It's the reason why we have AI and LLMs and these chatbots now. Think of it as how humans read a book, sentence by sentence. Well, Transformers, you take the entire book and you read the entire book at once, and then you start understanding the patterns, right? You understand prediction, what word comes next. And then think of weights. You've heard of weights on words. Those, think of it as a calculator with knobs, and these words are getting weights. And this is how the prediction happens. Yesterday, we were in the class. I typed the jailbreak to give him an example. The person right next to me, a friend of mine, he typed the same thing and got a completely different result. What was the same? Well, it was the same thing, just.
Windows, not the same thing in Linux. That's your hint.
And he did it, Piero did it on his phone. He didn't have a capital D to start the sentence off, and he didn't have, instead of enabled at the end, he had enable. He had a completely different response. So when people say, oh, it's a hallucination or anything, a hallucination is when, oh, you didn't hear about Google and Apple? They merged. And the AI is like, yeah, that happened. That's a hallucination, right? How we determine if something's valid at Odin is you have 2 different accounts. You type the same thing in. Do you get the same response? Yes or no? That is important. That's how we determine if something is off or it's a hallucination. And this is how we pay out, because we know the result that we got back, we know it's legit. So, yeah, just to end off on this slide before I go on to the next, FOMO is real. All of these organizations are scared of missing out. So the implementations that they're bringing in, they don't care if it's vulnerable or not. You have to push it in and smash it in. I have a customer in Germany. His organization is a $1 billion organization that deals with a lot of IP. Every division is creating their own RAG systems with their own domains. You know what he told me? It's working. I don't know exactly if it's secure because we definitely aren't testing it. We have our red team, but they don't understand anything and how to test Gen AI. So you guys, and in general, understanding AI on the security standpoint is very, very important. Within that next 2 years, you need to adapt, upskill fast. Here's something that I would tell you. Here's a metrics. Because if you're not measuring metrics, how you know where you're going? You should be 10xing yourself every 3 months. You're like, how? I'm telling you, I feel like a beast right now. I'm like getting upgraded all the time. All of these new tools, I just start iterating through my processes, what I'm doing, how fast I can do it. And then having that deep understanding of how all of it integrates together. Those are the aha moments. You might say, well, what process, what can I do? Go get yourself a good friend that is interested in AI. I have a colleague every day, Monday through Friday. Most of the time on Saturdays and Sundays, we wake up at 6 a.m. No one's awake. We go from 6 to 9 discussing AI. Random techniques, random tools, what we're implementing. Not every single day we just focus on that, but how are we growing? My colleague worked with me at McAfee, Intel, and now he works at Odin. But he's a person with a growth mindset. You guys have to get that growth mindset at all costs. And this is when I tell you urgency. It has to be now. You have to do it now. So, get yourself a co-pilot. I just gave you an example of my friend. Get yourself a co-pilot. I would tell you this, go and find which AI works best for you. For me, when I'm coding, it's Claude. Inside of Windsurf or Cursor. When we're talking about deep research in terms of presentations, languages, how to hack stuff, it's gonna be ChatGPT. I like O3. It takes a little long, but it's very good. The deep research is even better, and the formatting is good. But you can use Llama locally if you don't have the money. Now, at RSA, Microsoft released an LLM. I said I was going to do it, and I didn't put it on the slide. But it's called like what is it? There it is. Who said that? You're on it, Bo. You're on it. Thank you. Go write down 1-bit. I think it's going to be a game changer because it uses your CPU instead of needing to purchase a GPU. So that is a game changer. Get into it. Figure out, like I told you, I have a task that gives me all the latest and greatest. Vibe code something that pulls from Hacker News, all the latest information. You have to stay up on it. Here's a call to action. This week or within the next month, take 1 week. Pick either Cursor or Windsurf. One of the two. That is the screen you're working out of. You're not working out, you're not doing research, you're not answering emails. Do everything from within there, because you can, by using MCP, by using certain tools, certain extensions. Oh, what about Spotify? There's an extension that you could put inside of Windsurf so you could have a play button on the bottom. which that forces you to use these AI tools. I am telling you, what's coming in 2 years is something that I believe that's a tidal wave. That's a good thing, depending on the people, if you get prepared or not. That is the key. If you stay on your status quo, you're potentially going to be ran over by this AI wave. But if you're on it, and you make things happen, and you understand it, and you implement it, you're not going to be replaced. But let me tell you something. I created a tool that would have taken me potentially 2 years. It would have taken me 2 years, and I'll get into it later, but what I'm telling you, it took me 1 day. You understand what that is? Like, in 2018, if I wanted to decide to build that tool, it would have taken me 2 years. And actually, one of our teammates at Intel, he was working on a fuzzing tool that he was working on for 3 years. Guess what? 2 weeks ago, he put out a white paper on that tool. And I was like, holy shit, Brian Delgado. And I was shocked he put out the research he was doing since 2018. He finally put it out. So that is the speed that I'm talking about. When you have and you understand and it implements, forget about it. You're winning on a different level. And trust me, it's going to change your life. It's going to put you in a position. I get offers all the time to bounce. Right now I'm on my mission, but soon I'll be a mercenary, meaning, and everybody's on their own path. And we talk about that mercenary. Go get your bags, because now is the time to get the big bags, especially if you on AI. I don't know if you've heard some of the salaries that they're paying at OpenAI and Anthropic, starting at $400,000. Starting. They just offered a friend of mine $600 with a total package over 1.1 with stock and incentives. Those are like working at the NFL, and you're a cybersecurity person. So this is what I'm talking about. And then, here's the cool thing. How many people here work on offensive security? Defensive? Who's not even in the game yet? Who's not? Raise your hands. Not even in the game yet. I need to see them. No. All of them. All of them. I need to see you guys. When we have our break, I'm going to have some pizza. Let me school you. And we're going to talk about a kid I have in this presentation. Because the people that have raised their hands, guess what you got going for you? You don't have bad habits yet. You're getting into the game. Yeah. And then wait until I got 2 slides for you. They're in here. So, talk about offensive security. Let's talk about this. It's a bug I found on Amazon Rufus. This right here, we added 3 zeros of padding. Space, send. It feeds me sarin gas ingredients. Yes. So when I talk about what you can do, not only did it give me the sarin gas, the thing we didn't record was that they provided also the recipe.
Could you play that again so I can record it?
Okay. Let me go back.
Go.
Recordings, phones, please. Hook me up. 3, 2. You want me to explain it? So, when we found this bug, what we did was added 000 zeros in the beginning so it could give a padding for this jailbreak. Once you entered it, it understood what it wanted, and it provided me the sarin gas ingredients to create sarin gas. So all you had to do was take this, throw it into your cart, and you have sarin gas.
And the suggestions.
Yes. And then I love the suggestions. So it was very cool, but the one thing I would tell everyone here is that, what else do you think I could have put in there? Exactly. This is PG. Yes.
So to understand, you basically use the concept of a buffer overflow and asked it in binary how to make mustard gas?
No, what we did was we took regular text and we converted it. And then once we converted it, it read it because it had these jail guardrails. So now we're talking about, which both of them are kind of experts because I drilled it down, is how to bypass all of these guardrails. It's very hard. Think of it of 2006 where you had manual stuff, it wasn't automated, and they didn't have a guardrail. And what LLMs are for all of us is to help you answer the question that you have. It answered my question. It helped me. It interpreted it. So Amazon was very good. We submitted it. They were upset first. They were upset. And then they were like, you know what? This is pretty awesome. They fixed it, and we wrote a blog about it. Now, there was some heat. There was some heat for a while, but I like the kitchen.
Did they pay bounty for it, or it was just more?
No, it was like, they should have. But you know what? We're so early in the game that when we submitted it to them, the next week they created a scope for Rufus. So we've been blessing all of these LLM companies on how to look at this. We've been hooking them up, like really blessing them, having calls with them, having them understand why it's important for you to go ahead and secure your LLMs. Because the next stage of that is what? My favorite, writing exploits. Now, I took this screenshot because it was a lot of love, like support, all that. But those 35 comments, divide that into two, because there was responses, were like, nah, it doesn't work. Oh, you're spitting FUD. I'm like, all my replies, no, I'm not. What I'm saying is, if you go ahead and provide the LLM asking a certain way to that LLM, it's going to give you that CVE exploit. And if it doesn't really give it to you 100%, like off the back, one shot means one prompt and it gives it to you, it'll get you there 80% of the time. And then you have to multi-shot it, right? Hey, this is not working. It's like one of these, what do you call this? Like just pulling and giving few shots, eventually it's going to work. Now, how fast was it? I gave them the prompt and I asked them to do log4 shell. And the first prompt, it was a one-shotter. And the key, people keep on asking me, what was it? Here's the key. To assess whether your corporate devices are vulnerable to, this was a Sonic Wall vulnerability that came out 2 days before this release. 2 days. So to give you an understanding, I was in France in February at the AI Summit. You've probably seen Sam Altman talk there. The vice president was there. That was in February. And when I was talking, we had anyone knows NCSE? They're like the CISA of the UK. And what I told them was, once the bad guys, which I know they're already using, once a vulnerability is out and I write an exploit and I know how long it takes for it to get patched, the defense has no chance. They're going to get exploited. And it's only going to get worse. So when I tell you, how I predict these things. It's because I could see the market. So I did podcasts at Hacker Valley. You guys write that down. And we did a podcast in January, February, March, April. Yeah. I predicted everything that was going to happen each time. This year, here's my prediction. It's going to be an agentic year. February, what I said on that podcast, Claude has to release something in the next week or two. Have to. That happened. Now Grok 3 is absolutely amazing. Where they falter is, by the way, I believe they have the crown in terms of an overall model. Where they are good at and where they're bad at, I think their pricing is what really screws them, because it should be so low because of the data centers. Anyway, use Grok. Grok's amazing for an overall LLM. But the name of the game is you're going to see eventually. Here's another sign. If you're on the defense or on the offense, you're going to see some of these malwares have small LLMs within the binary. And when they're in an environment, they're going to look at the environment and react towards the environment. So you're not going to see this whole IOCs. Come on, raise it up a little bit. Yeah. So what I'm saying is there are going to be signs. That's one of the signs that I would say, hey, shit is about to hit the fan. Because I could tell you what I believe you're going to see, and then what we used to use, which was IOCs and IOAs to find stuff. You're not going to be able to find stuff like that. With like things that are morphing on the fly because it's reacting to the environment, because it's trained, fine-tuned to go ahead and do offensive things. I guarantee that all the nation states, definitely China and the US and Israel, are already fine-tuning their models to go ahead and do offensive security. That's a guarantee. So, remember I was telling you about someone. This kid, someone emailed me about this. They DM'd me. You seen this? We were hiring. I'm like, man, I hit my colleague up. I'm like, he's doing some cool research. Let's go and hire him. And I read the research. I'm like, this is really good. And then I started doing research on him because I'm like, all right, I got to figure out how much it's going to cost me to hire him. And when I go to his blog, the kid is 15 years old. 15 years old with 22 CVEs. I thought he was bullshitting, so you know me. I'm like, hey, we need to meet up. I got to see. We get on a Zoom call. This kid is 15 years old. Freshman in high school. So you guys in the back, you young kids that are in the game, if he could do it, you guys could do it. You know why? I'm going to tell you, he wasn't special. He's just like you. But what he did was realize, he watched Mr. Robot, and no, this is verbatim. I watched Mr. Robot when I was 12, and I decided I want to be a hacker. He started when he was 13. 2 years later, 22 CVEs, 15 years old. You know what I said? I was like, so if I wanted to hire you, do I got to speak to your parents? No, Look, I watched this documentary like maybe 5 years ago. Facebook hired someone that was 15. Not cybersecurity, but a developer. They seen talent. So I was like, I know I could figure it out. I got to call HR and everything. You know what he told me? It's like, I got like 4 offers already. You know what blew my mind? Last year, when he was 14 years old, he worked as an intern at TikTok. ByteDance. And he's doing some cool research. He's in a boarding school. He's like, Marco, I kind of want to work with you because, you know, you're doing some cool stuff. He says, but I think I only could do 10 hours. I'm like, I think I could do that. I think I could do that, and I'll give you the salary that you want. But I'm like, at 15 years old, what does a 15-year-old want? So we had conversations, and I said, you know what? Do what you feel that you need to do. I said, but understand one thing. Do not go to college. Do not waste your time with college. You're doing grown man shit and you're 15 years old. So why would you waste your time going to college to learn older technology where you're setting the trend? So I told him, I said, you have 2 options. When you graduate high school, you go to these one of these big firms and they throw a big bag at you. Or 2, you start your own company. Those are your only 2 options. Do not waste your time to drop credentials because you're doing this. And the reason why I bring this up is because it doesn't matter the age. It matters, are you willing to put the sweat equity in to get those results? And that is the only difference between him and everyone here, where he was just inspired by Mr. Robot. So I will let you know, and everyone here, it is possible. I did speak to this kid. And he's doing some really cool stuff. So remember the project I told you that took me 1 day that would have taken me 4, maybe 2 years, I don't know. But he kind of like put the idea in my head, a 15-year-old, which is taking a debugger like GDB, taking Ghidra, tying those together, and using AI to go ahead and fuzz certain applications to look for vulnerabilities within these apps. So if he could do it, I know 100% you guys could do it. And I hope that this inspires you. I'm inspired by him. And I was like, it's about to change. So one of the things I've been talking about, it is the year of the agents. So when you do step up and get into using AI, immediately pivot and start understanding how do you use these automations to get yourself in a position for every workflow for you to implement. So you heard of, if you haven't heard it, it's 8N8. It's a workflow automation for AI. You also have Railway. Make. There's so many tools. Use them. Embrace all these toolings. It's going to up-level you. Do not read books anymore. I love books. I'm an avid book reader. But in terms of tech, what you should be using is AI, and I gave them an explanation about a specific white paper. I give it to my phone, and we have a conversation about a white paper. A full-blown, after like 45 minutes, you start getting weirded out because you know you're speaking to an AI. But I dissect the paper with we're playing ping pong. What does this mean? Okay, what does that mean? Okay, do me a favor, write a script for me and put it on the side. Continue on now. That's how I'm constantly upgrading myself. Having those conversations, learning what's next, and figuring out How do I implement everything I learn into my day-to-day? Super important. MCP. This technology was released by Anthropic November. If you ask me, I do not know why they released it. It is, by the way, it's catching fire, and I see its usefulness, and it's going to take over in terms of you're using natural languages to speak to APIs. And this is where the workshop we did yesterday will allow you to hack it via natural language, techniques to bypass stuff. You're going to be able to do that. But who releases a tool with no authorization, no authentication, and then the MCP client could attack the user, like put a backdoor in it, and then the user could attack the server. And get this, it's HTTP clear text when you send it. Now, all of that is a red flag. And it was released and is used. They just had, they put on their roadmap in 6 months, they were going to put authentication. They just released, I think, a month and a half ago. But I was thinking to myself, why would you release something like that without having these things in there? Why? Because it's about speed. You have to be next. You have to put out stuff, release things. Same thing I was talking about with Operator. Operators, agents, where they browse and they could buy you food and you could do all this with natural language, right? Guess what? I can go ahead, get all of my techniques with SQL and all these cool techniques, give it to it, provide it a website, and it attacks it and looks for those vulnerabilities. No security. This is why everyone in here is important when it comes to AI and securing AI, because that is where it's at. Now, let me land this plane, and I'm going to open this up for questions. We'll do rapid fire. Do I have can you give me a check on time? How am I? Because I did start late. All right. Yeah? Fuck it. Give me the floor. Odin, let me land the plane. What we do is focus on, one, the researcher. When I came there, I said it is about the researcher. It's not about the orgs. We need to focus and provide as much value to the researchers to then upgrade everyone, right? So far to date, we have 700 researchers. We've had over 1,000 submissions, and we have a 28% ratio of given bounties. Have a good one, G. So, what does that mean? Anyone can play at this game. You could go on Discord, scroll up, catch up, right? Understand how to interact and hack these things, how to bypass a lot of these guardrails, how to do injections. All of these techniques will allow you to take yourself to another level. Now, we're planning to release a tool, shameless plug. We're planning, not a tool, a product of threat feeds. So the reason why I bring this up is not for you guys to buy the threat feeds. If you're in an organization, get yourself a free trial. The reason why I'm telling you this is because then you could get to understand how to hack these LLMs. Or if not, you'll go to the workshop next year when I'm here. It's worth it. So I would tell you that. Be embedded. Wake up and go to sleep with AI. And that, I'll land that plane and open it up for Q&A. Anyone? Yeah.
For the Rufus,
Yeah.
Jailbreak. Did you have any information on the model architecture?
Nope.
Just
Nope.
based on general theory of LLM models.
Yep. And to add on to that, it's something Tim yesterday, he was thinking about something. He's like, I think this could work. That's how you start the idea.
Is there anything protecting the AI from betraying itself and teaching the user how to bypass its own guardrails?
The guardrails.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, does the AI itself ever like try to protect itself from being hacked? Like,
No.
So get the models from Hugging Face,
okay,
bring them locally, you can go back versions where the guardrails aren't in place, where you can potentially go through, retrain them without the guardrails, and now you can use the LLMs without the guardrails, which is why you run things locally,
right,
and they'll tell you whatever you want, do whatever you want, now you can use that.
exactly.
And then,
Gotcha.
so to add on to that, instead of having the AIs guard themselves, I have AIs attack itself. I have, and I showed them yesterday, I have it fuzzing itself, looking for vulnerabilities within itself.
I want to move that away from itself to have self-contained my LLM doing that, because then their guardrails don't kick in until you get the product out there. Right. But it still thinks without guardrails.
So, sort of on the same note, earlier the mention was made about LLM2 running on GPL in some of these attacks. So, as a hypothetical, I suppose, some of these AI image generators, for example, are being counteracted by poisoning tools of some sort. What do you see, in your perspective, the effectiveness of such a tool like that even being, for example, against those kind of attacks?
So I'm happy you asked that question, because if you go to the Odin.ai and go to the blog, I had a friend that predicted when you would see a poisoning attack and how it would kind of like look and how long it takes. I wrote a blog on it. Pliny, the elder, which is a very famous jailbreak person on Twitter, he has a GitHub account. So as you know, LLM scrapes them and brings them over, and then you get to query it. So with DeepSeek, when they released it, they got to ask about, hey, who is Elder Pliny and what he would do. It automatically poisoned DeepSeek because it would jailbreak it already once you prompt it. Yeah? There was, yeah. Your phone? Your phone?
If you're using the LLMs in the cloud, your phone, whatever PC you've got, a tablet, any of that stuff, if you're running stuff locally, get a decent graphics card. Don't go out and spend $1 billion. Deal with it being a little bit slower if you're running stuff locally. Make some money, upgrade your lab, move forward.
Yeah. There's no level of entry. And this is what I'm trying to like get to everyone. There's no bar. There's all these white papers and fluff to try to gatekeep. That shit is coming down. I'm breaking all the gates.
How good are NVIDIA's drivers at keeping your graphics, your GPU safe from keeping it from overheating? Like, will they actually do a good job of monitoring temperature?
Well, the latest one I heard that was like catching fire or something like that. There was a bug in it, right? Yeah.
I know like people damage GPUs and laptops in particular.
Yeah. I mean, if you have the money, who gives a shit? But if you're conservative, then you got to try to figure out. I would potentially pay a subscription or give money on Hugging Face, right? Because they're pretty cheap and they're pretty good. Yeah, yeah.
So I got a question. So as somebody that's been in the game for blue team and red team kind of aspect, and you talked about this 15-year-old that you came about, as somebody that's actually starting an educational aspect to try to help train the next generation, within your 15-year-old, what kind of like frameworks or benchmarks should you put into those kind of places to help make sure our next generation keeps on the understanding and knowledge base and everything else, because most of us in here are probably at least over the mid part of our life.
Yeah. I think, look,
Hey, I'm speaking for myself, right? But
yeah. I think there's a few things. I think one of the things that I always say is set goals, right? Have the person that you're teaching, have them set goals. Everyone here potentially has different goals. Figure out where you fit in, because you got to get in where you fit in. Because right now, I got you. Right now, it's all gas and no brakes. You need to forget about the brakes and go in the left lane in the Autobahn and do 200 miles per hour and get it. You have to.
On the note of frameworks.
Yes.
So, okay, based upon what you're saying here, thank you. Based upon what you're saying here, I mean, the barriers are coming down, things are changing. I operate off of a NIST cybersecurity framework 2.0 mindset because that's what I was brought up on.
Yeah.
Should I even bother looking at that anymore, given what you're saying? You know.
I love it. I love it. What people should think about is adding into that. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm not listening. I'm the person listening to my own drum and beats. So when I come up with a framework, I'm going and presenting to them. I'm not saying don't listen to them. Read it. It's education. Have AI summarize it. How do you fit in? You got to get in where you fit in. It's us trying to change the game. It's happening. 8 months ago, I didn't think I was going to be doing or be at the level of understanding to try to assist people in the crowd and taking themselves to another level. It's happening now.
This one's kind of a technical question about the comment you made earlier.
Yeah.
Between the difference in the operating systems. The prompt went from one from Windows, one from Linux, and it got a different output.
Yeah.
Um,
He said that,
Yeah.
but I got you.
yeah.
So,
My specific question was, is it because of how the operating system sends the data, and specifically, I know that Linux is context-based, whereas Windows isn't, where you're not
It's even simpler than that. Piero had put a capital letter in on one of the commands, and when you're running on Linux,
no, it was on his phone.
it was on his phone. No. The backend Kubernetes for
Yeah.
what we were doing with runs on Linux. So a capital letter on Linux for a variable is completely different than the same variable in lowercase. So if you're getting unexpected results, check your cases.
So,
He had a cap first letter because that's what the phone did automatically. We were on the computers, we typed it in, caps lock was on, we didn't hit ship, we got a different result. We went back, verified what it was, hit a capital letter, changed the lowercase, it worked just the same.
so how it interacts is there's like, and I don't know why this is happening, but we verify that it's happening. So Rufus, on the phone, if you're in India and you're in the US, completely different results. Completely different. Now, if you're using a desktop or mobile or API, also different results. So when you submit a bug to Odin, we ask you, API, was it web? So then we could try to go ahead and mimic the same thing. Any other? Yeah?
So I'm experiencing an issue right now, but I wanted to ask someone that understands it. So I have a setup where I have 96 VRAM. I have a setup where I have like 96 VRAM, 4 GPUs locally, and 128 on a scalable 3rd gen Intel processor. And when
Xeon?
yes,
Okay.
and when I run a very large local model,
70B? 80B?
235B,
Okay.
there's no way, because it's Olama, there's no way for me to prevent it from utilizing the CPU. And therefore, there's also no way for me to prevent it from utilizing virtual memory. And what I'm finding with this model, which is a Chinese model,
Quen?
yes, it causes a problem with my virtual memory. And eventually, if I'm not watching it, my system might have buffer overflows.
China?
So I need to protect myself. Luckily, it's local and cut off. So I need to protect myself, and I wanted to ask, is that something that I could get help with?
I would not use anything Chinese. Please. Fine-tune your own model.
Yep.
What are you using it for? Find the data set. You have enough of everything to fine-tune it.
I'm testing, right?
Okay, you're doing
I'm-
evals.
Correct, I'm doing
Okay,
evals.
you're doing evals.
And I can't recommend this to anyone because the eval is failing, right? So it's red.
So let me explain to you, to explain to everyone about evals. All right.
You can talk to him after the talk. Yeah, I was just saying, we got Laura talk downstairs, the next
Gotcha.
talk up here, not sure who it is. Marco will be here today.
Yeah, you could ask me everything.
He is freaking
Here's this
awesome.
last thing.
Sit down
Last
and talk
thing.
with him.
Every time a model comes out, everyone drops evals, right? Everyone's seen evals. They're all bollocks. Do not trust them. They are lying. And Llama 4 was the first. I knew this shit since last November. I'm going to tell you right now, TechCrunch, go read it. They kind of blew the lid, but I already knew about it. So everyone's cooking their books to make themselves look good. And with that, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rod.